Let's do it.
Paul, if you ask me what to expect, I will not have a good answer for you because that's just how the day has been.
I wouldn't ask you. I wouldn't ask you. I mean, it's tough. Part of the problem is even if we'd both had 5,000 hours of auto chess, I think it would be tough to predict at this point because the meta is just so new and fresh. I'm actually still liking the idea that we can still go for these sort of classic Goblin Kira builds and they're not out of it. The fact that the nerf was light enough that it definitely did make other builds, or substantial enough that it made other builds viable, but not so heavy that it totally disrupted the things the player is doing for the last couple months. So I take it. I want new things, but I also appreciate the past.
We'll see what happens here. Once again, these players are all playing for top 8. And Silent, Zath, GG Norm, and Prodigy. Those are our top 4 amongst the 4. Okay, let me just. I feel like this game is probably most important for Bediao, Benny, Joseph, and
yeah,
Prodigy, and GG
yeah.
Norm. So that if I know I just named 5 players, but those guys, literally all 5 of those players are right on the edge of top 8. So just really look out for them to make a move. Meanwhile, Silent and Zath, again, they're comfortable right now. They're at the top, so they just need a decent game. So just trying to help up people understand exactly what's on the line here and what each player is looking for.
Yeah, I love it. I love that you're saying that. What's at stake? Well, what's at stake is a shot in our top 8. It's so much more in terms of prizing. And obviously, the idea that you could walk away from this as the ESL Mobile Open Season 5 champion. You get that title. You get that trophy. It's a nice trophy. And you get to put that on yourself and you get to say, look, I'm one of the best, if not the best, in North America. Because let's be honest, if you're a top North American player of auto chess, you're here. You're involved. You're in this tournament. So you can pretty comfortably say that you're one of, if not the best in the region, if you're able to take W here. And that's what all these players are aspiring to. And we'll see which ones can be able to pull it out. Maybe it'll be a member of this group. There's a lot, like you said, there's a lot in contention.
Mm-hmm. And we probably want to, and I don't know, open to opinions on this, but probably want to switch between GG No Re and Prodigy for at least the early stages here. GG No Re is at 49, Prodigy is at 48. They are both number 9 and number 10. So I'm quite curious how they will approach this. For now, we're seeing them both at the top of the lobby. We're not going to dissect too much in round 4 and round 5. Sorry, in round 5 at level 4 and level 5, but Prodigy's clearly going for some win streak action right now. He's currently at hasn't lost yet, and he's went all the way to level 5. Meanwhile, the question remains for GG No Re on exactly what he is intending. No 2 stars on the map, so he's probably actually going to lose here. So it looks like GG No Re might go for a loss streak. Or does he have a 2-star unicorn? Okay, he does have a 2-star unicorn. Let's see if that... If GG No Re loses here, he's going for a loss streak. Prodigy, though, I think he's going for a win streak.
Yeah,
So
we'll see if he's able to keep that win streak going. That'd be the question mark.
Prodigy lost. Okay, that's out the window.
Yeah. All right. And I like the fact that a lot of these players... Yeah, at least 2. And I like the fact that a lot of these players are just not afraid to just spend it all. Look for 2s, see what comes their way, really just opening up, the options that you have going forward, because there's a lot of potential that you can start things off. A lot of these really strong higher end builds, you really need to be in the higher levels to even get those pieces in play. But some of them, you can start things off. You start things start off Kira with that Ogre Mage. You've got a lot of options when it comes to Knights, when it comes to Goblins, even the Feathered at this point, Hunters, Agersis. So, picking up everything, keeping an open mind, I think is so important. When you try and force strats, that's when things go wrong.
Yeah, and all these guys are reflecting on their games today, and kind of how they've played and what they've seen what kind of success they've seen from other players today. Prodigy and GG No Re are going for almost identical builds, and they are in almost identical positions on our overall leaderboard. I'm not going to extrapolate that too much, but it is interesting. And then also Joseph going for a very similar build as both of them. So their builds should start deviating in the next few rounds. We can see GG No Re with a unicorn, so leaning towards some of that druid play. Meanwhile, Prodigy looks like Abyssal Guard, Razor Claw also going to a little bit into Druid. So it's a little funny how Prodigy and Gigi no Ri are almost mirroring each other, perhaps on accident.
Yeah, again, at this point, I don't think they're probably keeping too much of it. I mean, I'm sure they are. They're always keeping an eye on what their opponents are doing. I think it's probably just a little bit more coincidence. And here's the thing. You can have 2 players comfortably going for a build and still have enough pieces left up to have people star up at least to 2 pretty comfortably. That's not really the issue. The issue is when you start having 3 and 4 players going towards the same build. That's where things get scary. I love to pull up the scoreboard a little more often in between these breaks here, just to sort of see what these players are starting to build towards. Now that we're getting in towards round 8, round 10, that's where things are actually going to start to matter a little more. A couple of assassin plays coming out potentially. Want to keep our eyes on that. We saw some success with Assassin Druid so far today, and Assassin Feathered as well potentially. So maybe something happening there.
Speaking of that, look at Gigi no Ri. I just got done saying that he was doing exactly what Prodigy was. Guess what? He completely sold all that, and he switched. He's completely switched over. Now he's got, as you mentioned, he's got the Assassins out. So really quickly going into Shadow Crawler, picking up an Abyssal Crawler, Lord of Sand. He's pretty much pure assassin, and this is a decision he made very quickly, very recently. And I don't know if it'll work out. Mostly because if you look at Benny and Betiao, they both have a 2-star Abyssal Crawler already. And Betiao is already going pretty heavy into assassins. So I'm a little bit nervous for Gigi no Ri here in the fact that he just changed kind of what he's doing, even though a lot of those units are still on the bench. The direction he's deciding to go in is already being populated by other players. So curious stuff so far.
Yeah, I know. A little bit of I think more of an old school build here with goblins flexing into these assassins as well. You've got obviously that overlap, and this time again, if you can get that early Abyssal Crawler, if you can get that stacked, we have seen that unit carry so hard. I think the top 3 carry pieces that we have seen so far have to be the Venomancer, have to be the Abyssal Crawler, probably that Dark Spirit as well, and then I would definitely put in that Lightblade Knight, which we're seeing here on the screen, as we are seeing some knights coming out now. But of course, with that Lightblade Knight, if it's not stacked, if it's not leveled, if it doesn't have items, it doesn't do a whole lot.
Yeah, and weirdly, we didn't even see one for a good amount of the early stages of last game. And honestly, we were talking about last week, not really seeing much knight play at all. In this game, Zath himself, who we were able to interview earlier, Zath is going to be the guy going for knights. And as of right now, it doesn't seem like anyone is challenging him for that. Inversely, if you look at those assassin logos again, in another weird way, Prodigy is doing what Gigi no Ri is doing. He's picking up some assassins. So we have 4 players going for assassins right now. So a lot of switching around for a lot of these players. I'm a little bit nervous for Gigi no Ri right now because he's picking making a lot of decisions that other players are already going for. So see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, that's, again, you can have a little bit of congestion. You can have just a touch of it, but you still need to be, you can't have an entire lobby going for it, which is something that we have seen in the past. We do have 4 assassin players, though. That's kind of that critical mass I was talking about. So that is where they are going to start to strangle each other out. I think a lot of that just, though, is around playing around some of these early goblins. We'll see what the adaptations are as we do have a couple of these. What are you seeing?
Sorry, Gigi no Ri. He changed everything again.
He's just opening it up. He's going to go full priest. He's going to take no damage. He's going to try and build an econ, which is funny because he's already at 40. He's already at 40. I don't know if I like this decision. I feel like you're too late to join that party.
These are good questions, man. These are good questions. Definitely not what Gigi no Ri has been. He didn't plan on this game. He's made 2 tech switches, I guess you could call it. I mean, he has a great economy. He's got still a lot of goblins on the bench, which is pretty interesting. So stay tuned. Stay tuned, folks. This is interesting stuff. Let's see what else is going on in this lobby. A pretty decent economies for everyone across the board. Prodigy going a little bit low on his econ. Yeah. I don't know if anyone is really flirting with anything 3-star. Silent, remember, he's not our overall leader, but he is up there. Silent is currently 4th in our overall standings. He's got 2 2-star God of Wars out. which might be the
Wow.
most of any piece that we currently see on the board.
Okay, so I like this more for Silent, because this is sort of flexing in, just a touch, just a hint, not full committal, but flexing into going into one of these late game Divinity builds, these Divinity Spirit builds, which we've seen have a lot of success and have been able to do do pretty well. But the problem is you've got to get them going. You've got to get them pretty stacked up. You've got to get decent levels behind them. But I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to overcommit him here, because he's definitely still hasn't fully committed on that front yet. So we'll keep an eye on that. I'm just blown away by the amount of priests that have come in. It seems like everybody is deciding that, look, if I'm going to lose, I'm not. I just want to just give me less damage. Just I want to take less damage.
I was about to say the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players are going for priest. And what's also interesting, again, to go back to it, GG no Ri, guess what he switched to? He switched to priest, and now he has 5 other players going for it. Is he gonna switch again?
I mean, you only need one. You only need one. To be fair, you only need one. So he just has a priest unit in. But yeah,
true. Clearly, obviously, he has a ton of goblins on the bench. So that's his play right now. Prodigy and Betiao are going for goblins as well. We definitely have to keep an eye on any Venomancers that are making appearances. Got to keep an eye on that. I'm not seeing any deployed yet.
No, not yet. Not yet. But I'm wondering, and I remember, like, I don't know, 20 minutes ago. It wasn't even 20 minutes ago. It was like 15 minutes ago when I was like, hey, all the other players, when they're waiting in our lobby and they're watching this, they're seeing how well these goblin builds are doing with the Venomancer Kira, like what they were running last week, and it's still pretty strong. I wonder if they'll do more of it in our next game. And what are we seeing? Huh. It's almost like I predicted that. No, I still think it's a strong build, and I think it's a very comfortable thing because it's what they've been playing for the last couple months. I don't mind at all the fact that they're going back to it, but it can be beaten. We saw 100 to 20 that it can be beaten. So if I'm anybody in this lobby, and there are a couple, I'm not worrying about goblins. I'm just worrying about the counter.
Yeah, it's a good point. Definitely these players reflecting on games that have happened previously today. That's a reason we have best of 3s, best of 5s, best of X, right? You play the same players, you get used to different people's play styles. You mentioned it earlier of like a player's picking one particular strategy. I mentioned Lucky, the female player that did really well at the Auto Chess Invitational. She did the same strategy pretty much every time. So there is a element of that in all this, adjusting to others and making changes on your own. And there's a lot of meta to consider with all that coming into play. So we'll see. I still keep going back to GG no Ri. It seems like he's still having trouble just picking a direction to go in. But one thing's for sure, we're seeing a ton of goblins in this lobby. Something sticking out to me still is the fact that Zath is the only player going for Glacial Knight in a game where GG no Ri has switched tech like 3 different times, trying to find something that no one else has or something. Zath, conveniently for him, is the only player going for Glacial Knight. And I guess if there is a speck of good news for GG no Ri, he's the only player with the Spirit right now. So we'll see if that can snowball for him at all.
That's what I'm keeping my eye on for sure. That player on the Spirits. We'll see if he can see. Oh yeah, he's dropping some of these assassins potentially here. We'll see how that continues to flex. Betty is going for Assassin Feathered, which is one of these really old school builds, super old school. And he's bringing it in once again. We'll see how that does. A little bit of Beast also peppered in for Joseph. But I want to see what Betty is up to. He's got his 6 Assassins to play. He's got his 3 Feathered. Oh, man, he's just got the big tanky boy up at the front. Such a huge distraction. So sustainable while the Assassins just jump around and just destroy everything. This is such a classic. Like, I think for people who are looking to, like, get into auto chess, who are looking to, like, what are some simple, easy builds to pull off the... This is a simple one right here. Anybody can play this. You throw your Assassins to the back, you throw your tanks to the front, and you just let them go to town. Build up your Abyssal Crawler. Get them nice and stacked. They can stack up to, I think it's a lot. I think it's like, I can't remember what the exact number is off the top of my head. They did change it recently. But it can still do a ton of damage. 20 times. I was right. I should have said it. I should have trusted my gut. It's 20 times.
Yeah, and I feel like slightly nervous for Betiao. Because of all of the other players running Assassin. Benny, for example, has a 3-star Abyssal Crawler already, which is pretty crazy. So look for Benny to make a little comeback here. But let's just say this would not be as easy for Bediao, or this would be easier for Bediao if there are only if there's only one other player going assassin, but it looks like at least two. So we'll see if Bediao can hold on to this win streak and can hold on to the top of the lobby here. Obviously, he has the 6 assassins in play. He's got the Warpwood Sage in front, providing the buff. He's got an egg on the bench. I don't know if he's going to try to go for Abyssal Crawler because Benny has the 3-star, so I don't even know if he'd be able to find it. But that's what worries me as far as Betiao and if this will scale as the rounds go on.
It's definitely a great question. That was a question we saw, I think, somewhat answered, or at least partially addressed back in game number 1. I know it feels like so long ago because we've seen so many massive games since then. It's been a long day already, and we are not even halfway through this match. But we have seen that build do fairly well. But the question is, can it scale? You've got to get the levels in play, and we're already seeing it start to go down here. That's going to be the win streak, and I love it. You ask, and you should look at you go, Axel Tosh. Like, I think it's going to start to have some trouble, and then it immediately does. I maybe blame you, actually, now that I think about it. Maybe you're the problem.
I'm just thinking out loud, man. That's what we do. Yeah, and something to also mention is we're not really seeing Mage at all, really.
No.
Weirdly. You know, Gigi no Ri just picked up a Tortola Elder. That's pretty much it. I mean, a Thunder Spirit.
After this round, I definitely want to jump on board with Benny. Because I think he's actually, and you were talking about him as well, because I think he's basically got Bediao's build, but it's just better.
Yep.
But just better. And I think that's huge. I know you're touching on this, but I need to see it now. We just took a look at that scoreboard and I went, ooh, shiny. I want to see it. Let's go. So we can jump on board with Benny. I think he's going to start to really go off. And I also want to see what items he's got on that Abyssal. Okay. That's a good start. That's a really good start. I mean, okay. I dig it. It's literally almost identical. It might actually be identical.
It is feeding time for that Abyssal Crawler. You know, it is gonna chomp 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 away at everything that it encounters. And it might be fun to watch. So let's see how this unfolds here for Benny, our hero, currently in 6th place in the lobby. Oh, of course we have a neutral round. Too. But you could just see how quickly that neutral round was dispersed of. So let's see if Benny can turn this into a win streak. Meanwhile, Gigi no Ri, I don't know if it was because I was just talking about his game and what was happening. 71. But he's not really finding anything that's working, man. Like he's been switching around and he's on an 8-loss streak. He's down at 25 health and he's in a critical position. He's in a critical position in this tournament. He found a Venomancer and he threw an item onto it. He's got a ton of gold, so he's gonna roll down a little bit here. Actually going all the way up to level 9. So this is we're getting close to the final stand for Gigi no Ri, based on his loss streak, based on his health.
Yeah,
but
he's going to go down
even first.
Yeah, no, watch one more round of Benny, for sure. Watch one more round of Benny. I just want to see what that Abyssal Crawler can do. Then we'll go jump on board with Norm. Let's see here. And it is up against Zath, the only Knight player in the lobby. And maybe for good reason, because these Knights just seem to be melting a little bit. Well, maybe I spoke too soon. The Wave Slash did decent work.
He had a good moment. Yeah, he had a good moment with the Knight Shield against the Abyssal Crawler, but it was a short moment. The Abyssal Crawler went straight back to work. 4,373 damage. Thank you very much. It's like in The Hobbit, they have many meals in the day. That Abyssal Crawler is not done with servings for a long shot. Look out. Benny's on a exactly. Benny's on a 5-win streak too, man.
Oh boy. Let's jump on board with Norm though.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, let's jump on board with Norm. Let's jump on board with Norm. Also, dinner, supper, afternoon tea. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of meals. Okay, we're switching some stuff up.
Elevensies.
He's throwing in the exactly. He's throwing in the. Yeah, I can't believe. Sorry, I can't believe I forgot elevensies. Oh boy,
he's got the 2-star Venomancer, and that's pretty much it. That's going for him.
I think he was swapping some stuff around, but like you can see, he's got an unleveled unit on the board, on his bench, I should say. I actually think he was sort of caught with his pants down a little bit here, and it's going to cost him because he's 3 HP. 3 HP.
Wow. I feel for him, definitely. Like we were watching him, you know, we saw the changes he had to make through this game, and then none of the changes really pointed to where it was working. So this is going to be the
Yeah.
final attempt for Gigi Nori to stay in this game. He's got the 2-star Venomancer, he's got the 2-star Soul Reaper. Does that equate to a Garrus bonus for him? No, so there's no Garrus bonus going on. He's got Kira going on, but just not really a whole lot, honestly.
He just
you
rolled
know?
down from 70. He leveled sure in the
Yeah.
process, but he had 70 gold like 3 rounds ago. And he's at 1, and he like didn't find almost anything he needed, and now he's just gonna get slaughtered by a stacked Abyssal Crawler. You hate to see it. That man did not pray to RNGesus today. This did just not go so well for him. I feel for it, because we've all been there, and that's sort of one of the downsides to some, you know, in these situations with these auto battlers. Sometimes you just don't get the pieces that you need, and this is what that looks like. That is going to be Norm out of it in 8th place, suboptimal to say the least. My heart goes out. Let's jump on board with Jared next. Absolutely. Let's pull up the scoreboard as well. I'm curious to see how these builds have shifted over the last few rounds.
Yeah, and speaking of scoreboards, remember Gigi Norm, he was at 49, also 9th place overall. And again, everyone's looking for top 8. But yeah, looking at the scoreboard here, I mentioned the Glacial Knight play from Zath. So we'll have to keep an eye on Zath here because he's getting a little bit low in health. But we'll see if he can turn around with those Glacial Knights. Meanwhile, we see Prodigy picking up some Glacial of his own, so that might be a little annoying for Zath. And then, of course, all sorts of fun stuff going on this leaderboard. Betty Yao and Benny, of course, going for those assassins. Betty Yao picking up a 3-star Warpwood Sage, which is critical for his assassin strategy. Here we're looking at Jared. Jared, not really anything too convincing going on. No 3-stars to his name. Has got the full divinity bonuses happening, but that's about it. He's going to get chewed up by that Abyssal Crawler from Benny.
But this build can scale really well. This build can scale really well. He just has to move some things around. If he can get that spirit bonus coming in, if he can get the levels. Part of the problem is he just doesn't have, you know, he doesn't have a, actually, I would like to look at some of the items as well. If he could get that God of War up to a 3-star, yeah, he is getting that Soul Reaper in this. That's actually going to be huge, as well as the static Storm coming in from that Storm Shaman. That's going to do a lot. Even just the changes I think he's made this round is going to make this look a lot better. And we're going to see, he did switch things. So he's down only to the 2 Warlocks, but I still feel like I'm going to like this board a lot more from him.
Yeah, and we'll see if he can pick up the last spirit that he needs to complete that bonus. And let's see, I wanted to mention Jared's economy is not doing too well either. All the way down to 2.
No, it's not.
But he did just go up to level 9. But still, the econ is clearly he was rolling down and just didn't really find what he was looking for.
Oh, but he did get? Okay. Hang on. He's actually going to trade out. Okay, he's going for full DPS right now. All right. He's trading out the shield. He's going all damage. Let's see if the Wrath of Zeus can come raining down from the sky and do some big damage this time around. Let's see what Jared can do. Everybody's now at level 9. We do have Joseph to level 10, so they're going to be on pretty even footing. It all comes down to composition.
Going up against Benny here. And where is Benny's Abyssal Crawler? Yeah, that wasn't hard at all for Jared to navigate. Although Benny still has a win streak, so still doing fine on his own board. Somehow he just shut down Benny's Abyssal Crawler.
Yeah, I'll have to keep an eye on that next time we see it. I feel like just the way he stacked them all up, the Abyssal Crawler just couldn't really do a whole lot of damage. Right. We're going to see a bit of a shift. I actually like this, bringing the tankier Storm Shaman potentially. Though, actually, I like the Storms. I like the Thunder Spirit out further on the corner there, because then it could do something else. He's trying to bait some play-in with the Storm Spirit out on the outside. I'd be curious to see. Oh, actually, no, that actually makes a lot of sense. Never mind. I dig this a lot, because it's going to function as a pseudo-tank while also getting the ult off early and create a little more space to bait in the Assassin play. Okay, no, this is really cool.
This time going up against Zath, and Zath is, again, someone to keep an eye on. He ended up rolling down and spending all his money. He's only at 25 HP, but the only player really going for the Glacial Knights, having to deal with a couple other players that are incorporating a little bit of Glacial into their play. Lightblade Knight, can it stand? Yes, it can. And Zath ends up getting the better of Jared in that moment. Jared not losing too much HP though. It was just a Lightblade Knight that ended up taking him out. Should we? Yeah, should we go? I was just about to say that, man. Wow, that's crazy.
Just read on the same wavelength. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, let's jump aboard with Zath because he came into today as the number one place. I was gonna say the number one seed. No. Sandwiches. Sorry, I almost said the real thing and not the frozen line, like some sort of animal. What am I doing? Gosh,
you do get every reference. I didn't believe you, but now I do. So Zath, the only player going for Glacial Knight, which is why I would give him some hope. I was feeling like giving him hope, but he's all the way at 15 HP with no economy, so he has to make this work with what he has. And actually, wait a second. Oh, he's one away from a 3-star Lightblade.
Yikes. Okay. I want to see that Lightblade's items too. He wants it. I mean, he needs it. Oh, he's a penguin.
He needs it.
Oh, now he's a penguin. Sometimes you can't always get what you want, though. In this case, he's also not getting what he needs, so that's suboptimal. Oh boy.
Wait.
Okay. Okay. Not the best items. It's all right. Got the infused mask. That's obviously really. Actually, no. I guess that makes up for it. I was like, I want more, but yeah, the infused mask is actually really good. But he didn't get it. He's on money. He's got money.
It's so tough when you're so low in health, but you don't have any money to roll down to get the unit you absolutely need. This could be the end soon for Zath. Oh yeah, and he's going up against Benny. And the savage 3-star Abyssal Crawler that is just ripping. It is just ripping apart the entire board.
Oh, it two-shot the priest.
We're on to supper. We're on to late supper, and Zath is out.
Oh my goodness, Zath is done. Back to the drawing board. And again, we saw the interview with him earlier. He said, I feel good when I can play confidently, when I'm confident in my grasp of the meta. The day of a patch, nobody is confident of their grasp of the meta. And it seems like the perception of some of these builds, how strong they were or weren't, just wasn't quite there. But I think a great little bit of learning. He's going to be able to go back, watch these streams, watch the games from the other groups if he wasn't able to catch them, and see what these other players are doing. Of course, all these players, they chat Axel Toss. These guys, they're in Discords and stuff. They know what's going on. They're all talking to each other. So I'm sure even from today to next week, what these players are doing, what the meta is looking like is going to be totally different.
And the top 16 is super crunchy right now. It's super close, almost crunchier than the ferocity from that Abyssal Crawler. Zath, he was at 55. Like, he's barely into the top 8. So getting 7th there, not what he wanted. Definitely not what he wanted. So he's gonna have to work a little harder as the games continue this upcoming Wednesday. But for now, looking at the overall state of things, Betiao, interestingly, able to find a 3-star Abyssal Crawler, even though Benny has already had that 3-star Abyssal Crawler since like round 18 or something. So perhaps some eggs helping out Betiao, able to find that for himself. So Betiao still in a pretty strong position at the top of the lobby. Looking at the bottom of the lobby, remember, Silent is also in deep contention in our leaderboard. He's at 57, 4th overall, and he's on the verge of being knocked out. So we might want to watch Silent here, as it's every point that Silent can get is pretty important. Looks like we got a quick glimpse of Betiao and success. Now we're moving on over to Silent. He's got the 3-star God of War in the front. That's good for him. Okay, he's got a 2-win streak going. That's what he's looking for. His economy is nowhere to be seen. So he's got to get a little bit lucky with rolls, but he had a pretty comfortable victory there against Joseph. That's going to make him feel pretty good. But I'm afraid for when he runs into Betiao or Benny, who have the really scary 3-star pieces. So let's see what happens with Silent going forward here.
Yeah, I mean, but this is kind of what I'm talking about, though. This build does scale really, really well into the late game. So keeping an eye on that. And of course, how you utilize that divinity bonus, how you're reducing those cooldowns is big. And we'll keep an eye on that for sure. I think all the lifesteal that you're getting with that warlock bonus just makes these durable units, especially up at the front, even more durable, able to get out more and more crowd control And that's really what I'm looking towards here. It's just controlling these fights. It's not anything crazy. It's not a blow up. It's not a knockdown. It's just survive, endure, outlast.
Yep, I think that's a really good way to put it. Oh, and this is what I was afraid of, going up against Benny. Yep. Benny has been just destroying everyone. Look at this. See you, Silent.
Oh boy.
Silent but dead, and out of this game.
Oof. You hate to see it. No, because what's the thing that counters enduring, surviving, life stealing, controlling? Pure, raw, unadulterated damage. Crits coming out the two shots, and that's exactly what we're seeing from these assassin players. That's the level of ferocity that they're bringing to the table. And now Betty is sitting in a great place up at the top. I also love the fact that we're sort of flexing in these spirits a little bit here. Going to be adding that petrify in. So when you have this advanced attack speed that's ramping up for that abyssal crawler, maybe that's something that we might end up seeing here. Can we actually click on that spirit bonus once again? I'm just curious. I'm just trying to remember exactly what the percentage proc chance is on that. I'll actually maybe I have all my notes here.
30 and 50.
30 and 50. So, oof. That's a pretty good chance. That is a pretty good chance we're going to see that come into play over the course of this. And we're seeing what would look like, again, should have been a pretty close board. Abyssal Crawler just takes it over.
Yeah, and I think I really like the pickup by Betty out there of the spirits. I wonder if that was an awareness of the fact that no one else was really doing it. And I believe Gigi no Ri, remember, he was going for spirit near the end of his effort in this game, and perhaps Betty noticed that the spirits were being picked up by Gigi no Ri, and then he got knocked out. So maybe he saw it as an opportunity to start picking him up. I think that's a pretty heads up move, and maybe that can be the difference. I feel like it's down to Betty against Benny right now. So that decision could prove the difference for Betty to succeed here. So we'll see.
And that's not going to be at all confusing to listen to.
Yeah, I know. It's a pretty interesting move. And yes, Betty Ao and Benny are different names if you're not watching and you're listening like the radio.
I feel like that siren shut down. Not able to get off that ult. That was actually a pretty big deal there. The crits, man. The crits. You just see those little lightning bolts coming out on your screen. Oh, boy. Betty against... They called me Betty. And
Betty did it.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Just a little bit further ahead. Able to... has all the right things going. He's got MR. He's got the crits. He's got the control. Just like... I feel like that build is just perfectly crafted. I don't see a whole lot of holes in it, if I'm being honest. Like areas that you can exploit. It doesn't really seem to have. I mean, maybe full spirits. Maybe a fully decked out Knights build. Maybe a fully decked out Glacier Knights that gets the 3 stars. That has survivability, can weather the initial storm, maybe, or maybe a fully decked out Venomancer Goblin Kira build could do it. Maybe.
Dude, there's a ton of spirits out now. And like literally 2 minutes ago, I was talking about it. It was just Betty Ao and Benny with spirits. But somehow in between now and when I was talking about it, Joseph and Jared have picked up all the spirits and are now using it in their play. So the spirits are awakening in the last game of the day here at ESL Mobile Open.
Yes. I mean, there are these great additions to the late game composition. We see 4 spirits still for Jared, and see how they continue to play, or what are they looking for? Oh, Dark Spirit. Gotta try and find that Dark Spirit level 2. That black hole makes all the difference in the world. That percentage-based damage just ticks and ticks and ticks away, and suddenly, next thing you know, all the big beefy boys are just getting taken down to size. So we'll see if that comes into play here. Some last-minute shifts from Jared, wanting to make sure that all these pieces are optimally placed. I don't know. Made it. Okay.
Watching Jared here on his final leg. 5 HP, no economy, and he's against Joseph. The 2 normal J names. And it looks like Jared's going to be alive just a little bit longer. Also, shout out to the chat. I see Zath showed up in the chat, and he's talking about his play, which is pretty cool. And Silent also showing up in the chat and talking about his play. So shout out to those guys. And if you're in the chat, ask those guys questions. They're cool. Click on their names so you can see their Twitch streams.
Yeah, I know Zath streams on Twitch. I don't know how many other folks. If you're also playing in our tournament and are a streamer on Twitch, well, definitely let us know. We'll shout that out.
Also,
I know Zath is for sure.
Yeah, and Zath said Knights was a good pick for the lobby, just didn't see my 3 stars. And that's pretty much what we were saying. We were like, he went Knights and no one else did. That could work out for him. But yeah, he couldn't find his 3 stars. That's pretty much what we were talking about. But good game, Zath.
Ooh. Bedio lost. He actually did go down a little bit. He was at 80 HP for a while there. I'd be curious to see who he lost to. I missed it on the screen. So you're seeing a level 2 Siren, a level 2 Dark Spears from Joseph. Oh boy. Some key pickups here at the last minute.
Yeah, he's got a level 3 Water Spirit in there now. So will he lose again is a good question. He's gotten rid of all his golds. Looks like we're looking at Jared again here. And Jared on his last leg trying to survive. It might be it here. He's going up against Bediao. Bediao's strong. He's got lots of 3 stars. And Jared is out. So yeah, Bediao, I was going to comment how he was the only one not really reaching his full spirit threshold. And I was going to question if that would hurt him, and it looked like it did. But 2 other players who were running, as Benny gets knocked out, by the way, that's actually a surprise. Benny's out.
Yeah, that's wild.
Benny was so strong going into that late game, but he got knocked. So what's interesting here, too, is that Benny and Jared both dropped a lot of spirits. So let's see if Betty can find that Bediao, and if he needs it. I don't even know if he needs it at this point with all the 3 stars he has. Bediao still in a great position. Prodigy is going to be fighting for his life. Life here.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. But a lot of level 3s we had for this top player, and the ones down at the bottom on the cusp, on the edge, will need to try and supplant them on the top. That massive Siren ult did so much. The CC coming out from the Lord of Sand as well, doing so much splash damage. And all through through that, you just have those carries just wailing away. Oh, man, you've got the Warpwood Sage just staying alive. It's like he joined the Bee Gees or something. And on the other side of it, dishing the damage, a Hammer and Anvil. Yeah, that was wow, that was an old school reference. And then it's Hammer and Anvil. Yeah, you got it. But the Shining Assassin actually really close to a potential 3. Okay.
I think we should peek at Prodigy here. This could be the last moment for Prodigy today. And remember, he is on the threshold of our top 8. So this is actually a pretty good finish for Prodigy. I think he's going to be okay with this. Getting top 3 and when he's on the edge, especially when other players in this lobby are also on the edge. Prodigy is going to try to get himself in that top 8. And it looks like, okay, we are going to stay on Bediao for now and watch just how, just look at the right side. Just look at the DPS being dished out by the 3-star carries. It's a beautiful thing and a scary thing.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Wow. Ugh. It's scary to see. Okay.
Can we switch over to the Prodigy fight real quick and see the final, see if we can catch the end of this fight? Or Prodigy's board. If we can click on Prodigy. Click on Prodigy. Will he survive? Is that his Venomancer?
That's his Venomancer.
That is, okay.
It's getting locked up. This is the counter. This is the spirit.
This is critical here.
Yeah.
If he can take out 2 of them, or 3, he needs to take out 3 of them. Okay, he took out 3.
Oh, he can. He's got enough regen.
He needs to take out one, right? He needs to take out one.
Chemical Rage.
Oh my god. Okay.
Oh no.
I'm glad we watched that one. Oh, wow. Ran out of time.
What? It's a draw.
Okay, so let's keep it on Prodigy here, and let's see. Yeah, he's got that 2-star Venomancer. He's got the 3-star Skybreaker. Got a Goblin bonus working for him. The Mech bonus as well. Plus 15 armor, plus 10 HP, plus 40 HP regeneration with the Mech bonus. And look at all the items on his Venomancer for Prodigy.
Oh my goodness, yeah, if we can click on that Veno, I'd be really curious to see where the items are at on that Venomancer. Ooh, looking really good. Got the cuirass going. Going to be reducing all that attack speed, which is so important, as well as the halberd. Okay, all right.
He's putting everything on the Venomancer. Prodigy might as well rename himself to Venomancer at this point. That is his hero. That is who he wants to pull him from the ashes in this game, and somehow find victory. Can it be done? Is it possible? He just found a draw.
Yeah, I think if we're seeing somebody, oh man, I think if we weren't seeing so many spirits in play, they can shut down these really. But he's also playing this. Truthfully, I don't know. And that's the glory of this. That's the amazing part of this, is that it is anybody's game at this point. When you get to this high level play, when you look at the backline, though, just melting, that makes it a little bit more interesting. Everything's petrified. This entire board has turned to stone between the spirits, between the sirens. These abyssal gazes just going off. Oh my goodness, this is so back and forth. This is so close. With the explosions going off, I'm not sure. No.
It's got to be.
Oh my goodness.
This is it. Prodigy's out.
Prodigy.
Still a good placing. Third, when he's on the edge, especially with other people in these it's like Silent and Zath, for example, were in the top 8, and now they might not be. GG No Re also on the edge, but Prodigy finished better than all of them. He's going to be pretty happy with this result.
I think so, for sure. I mean, again, at this point, we're literally talking a matter of single-digit points being the key difference between making it to the finals and not. I think Joseph is not going to win this here. I think Bediao is going to get the... Oh, wait, no! Keep him locked up! Keep him locked up! Woo! That was so close.
So, and to keep everyone up to date, also, Joseph and Bediao are currently just on the edge of the top 12. So they're around 12 through 16. So they're very close to the top 8. So Bediao and Joseph, with this top 2 finish, they're keeping themselves in this tournament. It's very important that they did this.
No, this is absolutely huge. I cannot understate this, because there are only...
It's impressive.
Including this one, 3 games left. 3 games left. That is it. That is all that is left. After weeks and weeks, in fact, months now, of competing, of playing, of grinding in these games, it all comes down to these last few final choices. One piece, one tile out of place could spell the difference between success and defeat. And speaking of success, hang on there. We just saw a win on the board for Joseph. That looked pretty good.
He's got a lot of money, too, that he's rolling down a little bit. I mean, his econ is in a better position than Bediao. This is some juicy stuff. I'm not sure who we want to watch. Maybe watch Joseph, since he's a little bit lower on health.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing also is that Bediao has all the 3 stars, but Joseph is hanging in there.
Yeah. No, it's incredible. It's really impressive. I think itemization has definitely been helping out here a lot. Like, even just seeing how much damage that God of War does every single time he swings on through is encouraging. But again, keeping that Abyssal Crawler petrified, that is such a critical component of this, because watch what happens every single time that Abyssal Crawler gets an attack off. It's
Wow.
nighty-night.
The Water Spirit, too, helping out a bunch. Yeah, so I think it's the Divinity bonus that is working really well for Joseph. Just nonstop abilities is kind of the plan from Joseph. But the Spirit Stone play... Well, Betty doesn't have any spirits going for him now. So Betty just has to delay that. Or overwhelm it, or dodge it. And
you can dodge a wrench, you can dodge a ton of damage.
Yeah. So based on how that last round went, okay, he's got the siren. Betty has a siren too to help lock things down. But based on how that last round went, Bediao should be just fine, and that's what we're seeing.
Oh my goodness. 4 HP. All that big, splash magic damage that's coming out. It's being denied. I think it's also the Marine bonus. Can we jump aboard Betty one more time? I just want to see what his final build was before we round this one out. I just want to see what Bediao's that final selection of pieces.
Ooh, the line got a 3-star Shining Assassin. Also, he's got full Assassin, 6 Assassin going, 4 Marine.
Yeah. Really want to see what Bediao's board looks like here at the end. This final decision. Yeah, he just had that. Oh, that big Marine bow. That's why he's got all that MR. No wonder this is feeling so impactful. These assassins just can't be killed. That's sick.
Yeah.
I love that late game adaptation. That is so heads up.
When you have all the abilities from Joseph. Totally.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that call. That's just a heads up play. There's nothing else.
And
the
siren too. Mixing in the siren too is good. Especially he couldn't find the spirits for the constant concrete, so he's like, all right, I'll get a siren for a little concrete.
I can concretely say that that's a good pickup.
There you go.
There you are. It comes down to this. one final time. Joseph needs to somehow get the victory, but he's 1-6 currently in this game up against Bediao.
Joseph should get a Venomancer somehow.
Somehow.
We all know
just get more
no one
coin.
has a Venomancer right now.
Yeah.
Sell something, pick up those Venomancers. Might be too late. This could be the final moment here in the final game of the day for the ESL Mobile Open. Joseph, well, actually, we're watching Bediao here on his board, and let's see how he does.
Looking
doing okay.
Fairly good. I think
you might want to quickly switch over to Joseph. See what's going on there, and it looks like Joseph won also. And maybe do we stay on Joseph at this point?
Yeah, we stay on Joseph.
Just to see what see if we have a final stand for him, because it is on Joseph's board where he will find defeat if he is taken out. So let's see what happens. For now, still no 3 stars, which is like, I'm just impressed that it's just working so well that he's able to outlast as long as he is with no 3 stars either. Here we go. See what happens.
Here we go. All down to the wire. The Assassins are able to get into the back line, are able to get some initial pickups. Oh, this looks like it's going to be GG. The Assassins were left unchecked, unchained, undaunted, as that is the victory there. Oh, so close. So close in the end, but not quite able to take down Bediao, who is was first place in that lobby from start to finish, got that early lead, never looked back, got the pieces that they needed, and then made some really smart adaptations, some really smart swaps at the end, dealing with the opponents he knew he had to take down, got the rolls, had his economy in good shape. I can't say enough good things. I can't say enough good things.
Yeah, that's what's really fun about the last game of the day. There's a lot of really fun storylines for every player. And we saw a lot of players who should have won run into things that they weren't necessarily expecting, and they ended up falling a little bit lower than expected. Zath, Silent, Gigi No Ri, 3 players that are pretty nicely very near the top 8, if not very well in the top 8. They were in the bottom 3 or bottom 3 of 4. And yeah, all the Bediao just really playing well throughout. He was going for Assassins. He had another player in the lobby going for Assassins, so he had to kind of adjust to that. He ended up going Spirits, but then he couldn't really find Spirits, so he ended up switching over to the Marine for that magic resistance, as you mentioned, Paul. So just really cool play overall from Bediao. Let's go ahead and take another look through all those highlights through the Sony Xperia highlight as I take you guys through the last match of the day. And again, storylines all across the board. We're starting off here with Bediao opening up with a 12-win streak. We can see all those Assassins in action. But this would be that weak point I think we mentioned, and he would end up falling. And I think that's mostly because of Benny, who picked up a 3-star Abyssal Crawler, which took a lot of the gravity out of the weight of Bediao's Assassin build. And here we see Gigi No Ri not really finding anything he was looking for. He kept switching his tech, kept switching over, and he kept being met with resistance. And of course, going up against Benny here. And there you see the 3-star Abyssal Crawler. Just look at it go. It is a Hobbit today with all of the meals that it is having. And here is Jared. This is a moment where Jared was actually able to get a good edge on Benny. And Paul mentioned it, kind of stayed in the corners to minimize the surface area from those units. But back to, again, if you see a 3-star Abyssal Crawler, it's probably Benny, and it is. And that is Benny taking out Zath. Zath going for Glacial Knight, but not finding 3 stars. He mentioned it himself in the chat. Finally, here we have Prodigy. Prodigy had a pretty good game. He's on the edge of top 8, and he did well for himself getting top 3. This is the moment he was taken out by Bediao, and also the moment where we saw Bediao start transitioning into his scary, really scary composition that would eventually take out Joseph. So Prodigy almost able to hang in there somehow, some way, but he gets taken out. And finally, Bediao, what a great game overall. Just really nice play, really nice adjustments, and taking out Joseph to win and keep himself alive. He's a little bit further down in our overall leaderboard, so he absolutely needed that win.